Hey guys, check this out. I want to show you today 3 relationship types and some of the common problems. Let's start with healthy relationships. I love these. Healthy relationship often looks like a combination of individuality and emotional connection, relationship. By the way, this center part, this symbolizes the emotional connection, right? There's a balance there. I'm not being overwhelmed by you. You're not being overwhelmed by me. We are both together and separate. Second relationship type I want to mention, these are called the enmeshed or codependent relationships. Now, what those look like, I don't know if you noticed this, there's a lot of relationship, not very much of the individuality. Now, these kind of relationships, they burn out pretty quickly. Very hot and cold, very much, I love you so much, I can't live without you, and then lots of fighting and lots of conflict later. Why? Because you're getting a lot of your focus in life on a relationship, which, to my opinion, can't really withstand that, right? These relationships do not last very long, typically. And even if they last a little while, they tend to be very dramatic, very chaotic, because part of what's happening usually is that I don't know who I am, or maybe I don't even like who I am, so I need you to like me. I need you to convince that I'm worthy. I need you to convince me that I'm lovable. Or maybe I'm doing for you what you should be doing for you. Like maybe I'm waking you up because your alarm clock doesn't seem to wake you up. Or maybe I'm over-functioning for you in one area. It tends to be a lot of resentment that gets built up over time. Lots of conflict, lots of drama, not great. By the way, with these relationships, what I end up having to do is express more individuality, create more boundaries. We want to separate these a bit more, get back to the healthy, balanced relationship. That's where they're going to find a degree of health. Third one, these are called detached relationships. I kind of joke around and call them traditional relationships. Why? Because these are the couple that have been together for 25, 30 years, and they just hate each other. They're just there, I don't know, because they don't have any other options. Or maybe they're religious, or maybe they just don't know what else is out there. Maybe just for other reasons, practical reasons, not romantic reasons though. These guys, their romance has been squeezed out of the relationship. Both people tend to be digging their heels, or they're just tolerating each other. So these can be stable relationships over time, but they're not great. No one wants to shoot for these. I tend to, when I look at these relationships, I want to bring them together. I need them to discover what this is. I need them to discover their emotional connection, and that often takes a lot of bravery, a lot of courage, because one person has to go first, not knowing if the other person is going to respond. Something, and I've covered this in my pursuer distancer pattern video in much more detail than this, but what happens when the emotional connection gets challenged? One thing I would notice is, number one, you feel it. You don't think it, you feel it. And you notice it way more than all the good stuff that's happening. Kind of like if you're sitting in a room right now, and if you imagine a crack showing up in the floor, you're going to notice that way more than all the other stuff. Why? The furniture's safe, the furniture's stable, the carpet's okay, but that crack that just appeared, that could kill you. That needs to be attended to. And people often, when they get a relationship problem, they notice it more because they can be fatal if left unattended. Right? Well, what do people do? They often do this. Or they do this. This is what's called pursuing. And this is what's called distancing. Well, just imagine for me one moment, let's say you're person B, right? You notice that something's missing, so what do? You pursue, you motivate, you try to go towards them, you try to talk it out, solve the conflict, figure it out together, right? Can you imagine this bubble moving over into the other one? How is this bubble going to feel? They're going to feel overwhelmed. They're going to feel controlled, perhaps. And what they often do is they seek to address that by distancing even further. Well, what else might happen if the relationship's not doing so well? There's something missing. Well, some people choose the distancing route. When there's problems, what they tend to do is they tend to back up a little bit. They tend to go play video games, go golfing. They tend to hang out with different friends. They tend to stay at work. They tend to just avoid talking about it, right? What does that do? If you imagine person B going this way, what's that going to do to the emotional connection? It's going to squeeze it. It's going to make it smaller. And then what's this person going to be compelled to do? They're going to feel abandoned, rejected, lonely. They're going to chase. And that's often how the pursuer-distancer pattern can be formed. So I want to encourage you guys, aim for the healthy relationship. When something's missing, watch my pursuer distancer video and find little strategies to address that rather than just pursuing or distancing. Try not to end up here. If you're in one of these right now, remember the goal is courageous vulnerability, more connection. And if you're in one of these, set some boundaries. Find out who you are. You may have lost yourself. Well, love you guys. Hope I've been helpful. I'm the Thoughtful Husband. Take care.